right, so the WNBA, the season is over. And I mean, look, they had a lot of buzz this year. Ratings were up. They backed out of their collective bargaining agreement. TR, I turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on the WNBA's current season and where they're going in the future?
Yeah, I think what best sums it up. But what the WNBA is doing, they're just a bunch of ungrateful players. Like, just just ungrateful. You finally get your product is relevant to a lot of new WNBA fans. Now, I don't think I've watched one WNBA game. I saw clips. I saw some of the stuff that was trending. I just didn't get into WNBA like that, but I did enjoy some of the storylines that were coming out. I do enjoy like seeing some of the highlights because ESPN was putting out some of the highlights. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. But I mean, they had a bunch of. Unfortunately, if you just watch the highlights, you would think there's only 4 teams, and one of them is the Fever. So I think they had a good season, Caitlin Clark effect. However, they did everything in their power to torpedo that. They did everything to like make it about, being an activist and having all the white players having the white and straight players denounce their whiteness or their sexuality. So which is unfortunate though, because Caitlin Clark, and I go to her because she's the one that gets, connected to all this stuff, fair or unfair. She gets connected to this stuff though, because she is a phenomenal player, phenomenal college athlete, phenomenal WNBA player. Most people tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark. And I'm not saying that the players need to like bow down and just, kiss her toes or anything, but they need to know, they should know, and they do know that Caitlin Clark is bringing this eyeballs, and it's time for everyone to get in line. Because if you want this sport, if you want to make more money and you want this sport to go further, because the people before this sport didn't go anywhere. And I just heard that they backed out of their the CBA, and they're trying. Oh man, if I can find the article, I will. I'll show it here. But and I'll kick it to you to kind of talk about it as well. But they said something to the effect that they might do a lockout. Who? What?
Yeah. I would like to see their books because they've been first of all,
books are in red. That's what the books say.
Yeah, they've been subs. First of all, let's start here because when the season started, there was a whole lot of misogyny talk, right? So I just posted an article.
Wait. Are we talking about the WNBA or the Democrats? I'm sorry. No.
I mean, at this point, it's the same thing, damn near. But look, numbers don't lie, man. The largest fan base in the WNBA historically has been us, Black men.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
I just posted the statistical link in the chat for you to check it out. I should have put it in the public chat, my fault. But that's number one. Number two, not only are we their biggest fan base, but they're subsidized by the NBA. So again, let's be real. Most of the NBA's revenue comes from Black men. So what are we doing here? So that's number two. Number three, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, you have to look at them the same way you looked at Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. The NBA was going bankrupt until Larry Bird and Magic Johnson came in. And I don't care what they say. They sold tickets based on race. The Lakers were the Black folks team and the Celtics was the white folks team. They used that to build a rivalry. Now, whether it was intentional or not is a different story.
Sure.
But they used it to sell tickets and save the NBA from bankruptcy to bring you what you have today. Right. I said from the beginning the WNBA should have did the same thing with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. They fumbled the bag on that. You remember Angel Reese's first game, they didn't even play it, but somebody streamed it on their Facebook page and got 1 million views. That happened earlier this year. Mm-hmm. So they're still incompetent leadership. They don't know what their crowd wants. And I've said this from the jump. I didn't learn to appreciate women's basketball until I started officiating high school basketball 5 years ago. But I also am wise enough to know that I don't appreciate both games for the same reason. I get that they're both basketball, but if I watch WNBA, I'm more so looking at the play calling and the strategy. if I'm watching NBA, I'm looking more so athleticism and flair. I want to see a show. I want to see a good game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it's both basketball, but no, I don't compare them in that regard. And I know the WNBA players always like to compare themselves to the men. Why don't we get paid like the men? I think we obviously the answers to that are obvious when you look at attendance and ad revenue. They're catching up, but they're not there yet.
Catching up. They're not even close. They've been in the red for a while. The owners, they're looking for like a
It's red, but it's less red. But it's still red. Don't get me wrong.
Red. It is
and
red.
add expansion teams. I don't know if you heard about that, but they were talking about adding expansion teams too, which I don't think is a good idea. No, they want to add more. They want more.
Oh, man.
So, and I'm going to say one more thing. I appreciate Caitlin Clark's game. I appreciate the fact that she never bought into the hype that her fans were putting into her, because she's never called herself America's princess. She's never called herself the face of the league. I appreciate Angel Reese's ability to get double-doubles and do work. I think Angel Reese does a little bit of false flagging, though, because she likes to dress sexy and provocative, but then act offended when people are looking at her doing it, which I don't understand why women do that. But she did that a lot this season. She really did.
Yeah. So let me pull this up though. But the WNBA, they got the nerve. Like, let me look at this. Look, this is here's what Terry Jackson, WNBA NBA PA executive director, said. The players made the decision to opt out of the last CBA to realign the business and save the league from its own limitations. And the WNPA put out its priorities in the next CBA. All right. So between now and next year, they have to come up with an agreement, which I'm pretty sure they will, just because I don't know what they have no leverage, but whatever, ask for what you want. A new economic model, transforming the current system, which imposes arbitrary and restrictive caps on the value and benefits players receive, by introducing equity-based. Anytime you hear equity, it's a scam. So just put that out there. Base model that grows, involves in step with the league's business success.
This is word salad to me. I don't even know what the hell they're asking for.
They want the
there's a cap on how much they can make, which every league has a cap, I believe, except for baseball.
Yeah.
This isn't a salary cap. Is this the team salary cap?
That could be it too. That could be the team salary caps. Yeah. Player salaries, establishing clear distinctions between salary and bonuses, ensuring players receive wages that properly reflect their value and contributions to the league's growing business. What? That properly reflect their value and contributions to the league's growing business. So this isn't talking about.
Hold on, real quick. You said growing business. I just put an article that said that they lost $50 million this year for the 2024 season. But again, that's not as bad as it used to be. They're not there yet, because I believe at one point they were losing 80 to 90 million. It's still in the red though.
Yeah, still red zone.
But they want bigger salaries. I don't know this might get ugly.
Yeah, it's going to get ugly though, because this player salary thing properly reflect their value and contribution to the league's growing business. So this isn't talking about Caitlin Clark. This is talking about all the other players that got no. I mean, look, I didn't know who Asia Wilson was, unfortunately. Like, she's a phenomenal basketball player. I saw her numbers. I mean, just kills it. I forgot Sabrina, that one chick, Iona.
I can't say her last name, but I know you talking about.
Whatever her name is.
Ionescu, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah, they just won the championship, and nobody really cares. But I forgot she was still in the league. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I remember her. Like, when I saw some highlights and whatnot. But what they're trying to do with that, reflect their value and contributions. They're trying to give people that were staples, that helped grow the business from. I don't think they're still in the league anymore, but some of the Asia Wilsons of the world, she definitely. I don't want to say people are deserved, but it's really messed up on their part that the league did not do a good job of promoting their players, because Asia Wilson, I mean, phenomenal basketball player, good looking, I think she has a kid, so family and all that. So I'm blown away that the league didn't really lean into that because that's what they tend to like. But I mean, she is straight, so that's probably why they didn't lean into
I
it.
was going to ask you, how much of this do you think is karma for the way, because I believe Candace Wiggins, I believe her story and what
Yeah,
she said. She essentially hinted that they pushed her out of the league because she was a heterosexual woman.
yeah,
ESPN ran that story for like 10 seconds and never spoke about it again.
exactly.
But how
Yep.
much of this do you think is the North remembers type of stuff? And
Yeah,
maybe that's why people aren't fully, because look, I'm sugarcoating this. Let me just say it. Men want to be around more feminine women.
yes.
If you look at some of the most searched WNBA players, you might notice a little bit of trend on who presents masculine and who presents feminine.
Hey,
That's all I'm saying.
so this is the crazy part. I don't think a lot of people are going to say that Caitlin Clark is like kind of a knockout visually, a knockout. Like I think she's probably girl next door, but people aren't looking at
That's
Caitlin Clark.
attractive to some people, though.
You're right, but I think in the masses, I think they just appreciate her game the most.
Right.
Now, you start talking about Angel Reese or Cameron Brink, okay, then people are going to start having some different conversations though, because the Sparks, they were only relevant until Cameron Brink tore ACL. No one talks about the Spark anymore. Like, there's not a conversation there, and so hopefully she can recover because it's a torn ACL. And then Angel Reese, I don't know what's going to happen there because she just got her coach fired. Like Angel Reese, and it's
That
alleged.
sounds very NBA-ish, don't it?
Yeah,
They push coaches out all the time.
first year coach at that, so it was like a whole big deal. But I mean, she did flame out towards the
LeBron
end.
pushed David Blatt out his first year.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if we can't call her on the level of LeBron because LeBron generates billions of dollars by himself, but
Well, you know
basketball
what?
players have leverage. They use it.
If Andrew Reese game doesn't involve, she could get another coach fired though, because those double doubles, while they were great on the paper, they were not great for the team though, because they lost a lot of games and on her path to get those double doubles. And some of those double doubles weren't really double doubles, respectfully, because I'm not gonna say that I can
Garbage time.
Yeah, well, garbage time, and then also she had like 4 putbacks on blown layups though. So, and I saw some of those. I was like, dang, like, and this isn't me saying I could be better than a WNBA player, but I'm just saying with those WNBA with some of those stat padding situations, that would never go along in NBA, and they wouldn't get on the level as the NBA. So that's gonna go out the window.
Dude, I think women's basketball has gotten better every year since I've started officiating it. Like, seriously, when I started officiating 5 years ago, I was like watching freshman girls that could barely even dribble the ball. I was calling travel on every other play. It was to the point where I just felt bad. But year 2, I would go back to some of these same schools. They're being coached better. They're getting resources. And here's the problem the WNBA is going to have. Juju Watkins is next. She just got the biggest shoe contract a female basketball player has ever gotten. And she can ball. What are they going to do with her? Because there's probably going to be more money for her outside of the WNBA.
Wait, is she straight?
I don't know.
Oh,
She can hoop. I know that.
Coming for her.
she can hoop. I know that much. I know, and she's easy on the eyes. Let's be honest.
Yeah, which I kind of Angel Reese didn't catch any of these daggers because I think Caitlin Clark took them. But Angel Reese is straight too. So the WNBA has a problem. I believe the WNBA has a problem with straight women. So, and Angel Reese right now, no, and this is the thing. This is a crazy thing. When it comes to like the WNBA, like if it's not about a basketball move or a player or anything, Angel Reese is trending again for the wrong reasons because she says she's being over sexualized or whatever. But at the end of the day, she's given visibility to the WNBA by any means necessary. But she's the one of the few that kind of shows her body off when it comes to being a WNBA player. And I don't think anyone else, I don't think anybody else comes close to that. Well, Cameron Brink, even though she's recovering from her surgery, but and Asia Wilson, like I said, I didn't know who she was until until I started, seeing some of the stuff trend about, why are they talking about Asia Wilson? Why didn't she get a shoe contract? I don't know. I mean,
Don't forget Candace Parker did the ESPN body thing too. So she basically took nude pictures on the magazine.
yeah.
So
Is Candace Parker the one that married a black husband, had a black kid, and then divorced him for a white Russian?
that's her.
Okay. Well, Russian.
I didn't know her wife was Russian, but the rest of that story checks
Well,
out.
I take that back. I don't
And
know.
if I recall, that's one of the few rare instances that a woman had to pay alimony to a man.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works when the rabbits got the gun.
She met her future wife when she was overseas. So, you know how they bonded.
Yeah. If I'm the WNBA, why not just jump on Caitlin Clark's back? Because if she's generating the money, support her in generating the money. Get the bag. I get you've been a vet in the league for a long time, but they're not checking for you. They're just not. I am, because I enjoy a good game of basketball, but I'm in the minority.
Well, that TV contract is only here because of Caitlin Clark. I don't care what anybody says. That TV contract, the eyeballs, the attention, and to some degree, Angel Reese. Because without Angel Reese or without Caitlin Clark, no one's really checking for Angel Reese on a basketball level. They might check her because she's good looking, but she doesn't get that level of visibility because as much as they want to go after Caitlin Clark's fans, Angel Reese fans are the worst. Like you say anything, first of all, they're gonna call you racist or a bigot, and then everything's deemed as like some type of ism. Like it just goes a whole nother level with Angel Reese's fans. And I think some people, for the most part, are really trolling some of these WNBA players. So it's not like they're really they really care about how they feel about the game, or they're going to watch the game or whatever. But they got to get a thicker skin, because I know the WNBA came out and said there's no place for bullying, blah blah blah. Are you reading this message in the mirror? Like, check your teammates first, or check your players first, and then also check your coaches, and before you start coming after fans, because y'all, the amount of things that were happening to Caitlin Clark, and again, I'm not saying she needs to be gift wrapped, or put in let her just score on you all day and like, hey, here you go, Caitlin Clark, have fun. But they did a lot of egregious things that were just not in their best interest. She should have been on the Olympic team. I don't care if she was their first year. They should have got rid of the Dino. You could have sold those Caitlin Clark jerseys. Those things would have sold out.
You standing on that? They should have went to the Olympics here.
Yeah, they should have put her on the Olympic team.
That's tough, man.
Word.
I don't know.
We've never seen someone get put on an Olympic team.
Christian Laettner? Are you about to bring up Christian Laettner?
I wasn't going to say Christian Laettner, but since you brought it up, yeah, Christian Laettner. So I don't want to hear any of that, politics like, well, it's a first year, blah, blah, blah. Look, if Christian Laettner can put on a team, you can throw Caitlin Clark on a team. If it's just for optics, you can throw her on there. And I know she probably wouldn't she doesn't have to get that much clock. This is about adding more visibility or adding more eyeballs to the game, growing the game of the WNBA. And they did a terrible job. And actually, whoever is the commissioner, she needs to be fired. Straight up, man. She needs to be fired. They need to get a new commissioner in there, and so they can properly monetize this game, though, because you only got one shot. And if Caitlin Clark gets injured, you better have a backup plan, because I know they got new rookies coming in. So it'll be who is it? Paige Buchers. I think she's going to be going into the draft next year. So she's another up and coming WNBA player. But at the end of the day, they better figure out a way to monetize Caitlin, and then also get some of these other players to be monetized as well too. And they tried it at the beginning, but they couldn't hold frame through after the Olympics, because they started to act. I don't know. The visibility started to look a little bit different, though.
They need to get somebody like Don King or Dana White, or somebody who knows how to pub and build up something. The young, I was being extreme with Don King. I don't even know if he's still alive. But check this out. The WNBA's average salary has increased every year since the beginning of the league. And this year was the highest it's ever been. 119,000 is the average. I know Angel came out and said that hers wasn't enough to even pay her rent. And then the highest paid player in the league is Jackie Young from the Las Vegas Aces. She's made 252,000. So they're moving in the right direction. I'm guessing that they're just trying to put more pressure to accelerate these salaries. before the league is ready to do it.
They're trying to DEI their way into making the money that they think they're owed. They think they're owed this money. Like, no, you're not owed anything. You have been the league itself has just been just in the red. So for them to think that they're gonna have this equity, like let me pull this thing back up. This equity, like all this other stuff, that ain't gonna work. And then this next one, minimal professional standards, implementing consistent minimal standards that align with other leading professional sports leagues. Actually, that's actually kind of normal. But as well as travel accommodations. Look, you guys didn't start getting on charter flights until Caitlin Clark. So
this year, yep. And that's a bigger expense.
Exactly.
So they want to spend. I think there was only two things on there that made sense to me. There obviously needs to be considerations for women who get pregnant. I know the ongoing assumption is most of them. What's that?
There's something about that I want to talk about. So
okay, yeah, we can come back to that. But outside looking in, it seems like the stuff they're asking for right now, it's fair, but it's not fair right now. It's too soon. Mm-hmm. You got to get off from under the NBA's thumb, and you got to go out there on your own. I mean, we are talking about equality, right? You got to get it out the mud. The NBA was on the brink of bankruptcy, and they figured it out. Somehow, y'all got to figure it out.
Yeah,
stop pissing on men who come into these games and watch it. You need to start lighting up these women and asking them why they're not going to
motherfucking facts. Like, this is the other thing too. I'm glad you said that though. Men are the ones that have been patronizing your game, that have been buying all the shoes, buying all the jerseys for their little girls, because they want their little girls to, have a career in the league, or, aspire to have a career in the league. It's not women buying stuff like that. In most cases, they're probably buying like, basketball shoes, the men's basketball shoes, but it's mainly men buying all the buying any apparel, going to the games, buying the box seats and whatnot. It's mainly men doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Too much too.
Yeah, retirement benefits. Sometimes I can go either way with retirement benefits though, because honestly, it's really just football that whatever the retirement benefit is just not enough, just because of the sacrifice to your body. And even though they know it, but I think they could have a better retirement benefit. But it says expanding retirement benefit program, provide greater financial security. Look, this has nothing. The WNBA, you're there to do a goddamn job. They're not there to like make sure you are well off for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Like, what do they think this is? Like, I don't think any other league has anything remotely close. And you have to be in the league for at least like what? In football, you got to be in the league for what, 4 years before you qualify for the medical plan?
I believe so.
Yeah, you got to be in there for a long time. So I don't know what they're talking about in that one, like provide greater financial security.
I'm willing to give them a little grace in that regard, and here's why. The other leagues that you just described, those are $1 million contracts.
Yeah.
Those millions of dollars that you're receiving is your retirement plan, we just saw the other day. I think Nightcap, Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco talked about this. Adrian Peterson made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career, and he is out here filing bankruptcy talking about he's broke. Yeah. Bro, that was your retirement plan. The best thing you can do, and I don't want to compare those because the WNBA is not there yet. If they're only making $200K or $119K, that's a great salary, but you got to talk about some 401k type stuff, which means you're going to be paying out of your check and we'll match you up to a certain amount. But that's an increased expenditure for the league. Again, that's losing money.
Yeah.
And that's going to be more money coming out of your check. So are you sure you want this? Maybe they can set up something where they can get access to financial planners or something. But I don't think that's a reasonable demand right now. Not the way the league losing $50 million.
Yeah, they're operating like some of these. Anytime a company or a union goes on strike, this is what I've learned from these strikes, from the Stellantis and GM, even the port workers. Whenever they go on strike, they're going to get a favorable deal. They always get a favorable deal. What they don't realize, or what most people don't realize that aren't paying attention, like UPS, they're going to lay off a good percentage of that staff down the road, or they even might close the facilities, the plants. So the WNBA is operating like that. Like they have the leverage, and you really don't. And they're under no obligation to give you any of this stuff. Like maybe retirement benefits, I guess, or health benefits, I guess. But outside of that, they really don't have to do anything here because you guys don't make money. Kaylin Clark makes money. She could have went to the Big Three league and made her bag there. Like she could have easily went over there, and the WNBA would have been screwed.
Yeah, this is going to get ugly. If they're going to stand 10 toes down on all of these demands, I don't know how they're going to get met. The pregnancy one is the only one that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, fair. I hate when people say fair though, because it's like, so what you have now is not suitable. Like what, even working in corporate companies, does anybody ever say, hey, the family planning and pregnancy is not fair? I don't know what that even means. But accessible family planning support all players, including retirement benefits that provide long-term security for their family. Okay.
I know what a lot of places are shifting to right now is when you have a kid, you get 1 year off fully paid. I think that's probably something that's probably they want something similar to that. There are more companies doing this, but again, this is going to get ugly because I'm looking at this from the players and the owner side. The owners, the commissioner, how in the hell are you going to afford all this stuff they're asking for?
Yeah, they can't. Well, you know what they're asking? They're asking for in vitro. That's what they're looking for.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be big. That's going to be big in the LGBT community.
Yeah, the Brittany Griner route. That's the only reason they're asking for that, and that's not the company's responsibility. And some of these WNBA players, for the ones that don't want to have kids or have no problems having kids, this shouldn't be a negotiation thing. Why does this represent the entire league? This whole family planning thing. Like, I don't know what company even does anything that, you know, any major sport or your company does anything close to that, other than, like you said earlier, is they give you a year off, and sometimes they give the dad, you know, some months off or whatever. But outside of that, fair and accessible, like their activism is showing again, and they're just proving why the WNBA hasn't made any money. And this, once Kaylin Clark is out of the league, they're just going to go back to obscurity again, because I don't believe anyone's going to be able to. I don't think they're going to be able to properly capitalize on their top talent.
I'm a little bit more hopeful, but I do think they need a leadership change. I gave some examples earlier on how the commissioner and the league itself fumbled the ball way too many times. Juju was up next. There's going to be somebody after Juju. Women's basketball is getting better at the high school and college level. There's going to be more talent coming in, but they better learn how to manage it now, or this league will fail. Period.
Yeah, it won't go past some of the top teams, and they got a bunch of, I forget, was it 16 teams they have, or is it 8 teams?
Let me see. I want to say it's 8. Oh, it might be 16 at this point. Let me double check. But for the record, I want to call out, in the 30 plus years that we've known each other, this is the most we have ever talked about the WNBA. I just had to call that out. I want these women to be great, but this ain't the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's unfortunate.
The Aces are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna just read them all. The Atlanta Dream, Chicago Sky, Connecticut Sun, Dallas Wings, Indiana Fever, Las Vegas Aces, LA Sparks, Minnesota Lynx, New York Liberty, Phoenix Mercury, that's 10, Seattle Storm, Washington Mystics. 12 teams in the WNBA right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about expanding.
You know, it just reminded me, you said the Spark. It made me think of this joke that who's that comedian that's he just did an interview with Trump. He's a who-ish guy.
Andrew Schultz?
Yes. He said, because he flamed Magic Johnson, he said, why are you worrying about black men? Your son should be playing for the Sparks or something.
Oh, God. He's certainly tall enough to. Man.
Shout out Magic and F you for talking about black men. So
still the greatest point guard they ever played, though. But yeah, you was wrong for that.
All right. We're going to go to the next block.